Hello, this is Javier, and I'm coming to you here with a very condensed version of the VA mortgage workshop I conduct all over Southern California. And I do this to help you generate that much more business, but at the same time help out the veterans that many have no clue on how to qualify for some of the benefits they've earned so well. As you can see in the line below at the sentence at the bottom of the slide, it says, to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and his orphan. That's from Abraham Lincoln back in 1865, and the VA program is really one of those few programs out there that's intended to do nothing but help those that have served their country and help them just because of what they did, whether it be currently or a year ago or 50 years ago. So let's get into it. We're going to cover a few things, including the advantages of the VA, some of the procedural differences from a typical purchase, CalVet, how it compares, VA Jumbo, FAQs or frequently asked questions, and some reference material here at the end. So let's get started. Now, the history and overview of the VA home program goes back to 1944 when Franklin Roosevelt signed the Service Readjustment Act of 1944. It was passed unanimously by the 78th Congress, and more than 29 million veterans and service personnel are eligible for this. This is one of those things that, especially here in California, there's absolutely no reason, especially in Southern California, for you to ever be hurting for business, because you could very well master the VA approach and do nothing but this. Now, Southern California is home to some of the largest military complexes in the world. I mean, just Camp Pendleton alone is the size of the all area of Orange County. And so it is, again, a shrinking market in regards to a lot of bases closing, but we still have a lot of open ones out there. Think about this. 35% of the U.S. Marine Corps and 32% of the U.S. Navy are stationed here, which is incredible. 100,000 active duty personnel are retired live here, I should say, in Southern California, and about 1/3 of the people move to and from the area as well. Now, here's what's important for you to know. Who is eligible? Well, as it relates to eligible persons, active duty members are eligible as long as they've had 90 or more days continuous day of service, or 181 in peacetime. Right now, all they need is 90 days, and they're eligible for this great benefit. Active reserve or National Guard, they have to have 6 years in selected reserves, and prior wartime service varies depending on the era, if you would, as well. So as you can see, a lot of people, millions and millions that have served and millions that are currently serving, qualify for this. Now, some of the benefits of VA loans include the following. First of all, zero down. That's really the only program out there right now that allows somebody to walk into a home with zero out of their pocket. Most other programs that somehow have a version of this require something. That's not the case with the VA. Fixed rate only, so it did not go down the toilet like so many other loans that were variables with the whole real estate bubble bursting. And so this is for the safety of course, the borrower. No prepayment penalties, which is now the case with a lot of, if not all of the programs. But the nice thing is that this one never had it all along. No monthly mortgage insurance is a huge deal, because if you go FHA, as you know, it could be $150 to $350 just for the mortgage insurance alone every single month. Here, there's none of that. There's also a lot of easy refi options if rates happen to go down, and that's done through a VA Streamline, which we at Radiant Mortgage Bank do as well. So that's very, very important for you to know that. Basically, just about anyone that did military time is eligible. Active duty reserves, retirees. It's also reusable. It doesn't expire. So what that means is that if they come to you and say that they used the VA to buy their very first home way back when, and now they're interested in doing it again, as long as they have repaid it, they're good to go. And also, in some cases, widows can even utilize the eligibility of their spouse if they happen to be a veteran. Not the spouse, but not the widow, but the spouse was a veteran. The surviving spouse can actually qualify for that as well. Minimal closing costs to buyer. In most cases here at Radiant, we pay for all of their closing costs because, first of all, we're not allowed to charge certain fees, and even the ones that we are allowed to charge, we just don't charge at all. Minimal closing costs, like I said, is a huge deal because that's one less thing that they have to bring to the table versus your traditional or conventional or even FHA, where you have to bring, first of all, you have to bring, of course, your down payment, your closing costs, and your prepaids. Here, that's not the case. It's also assumable, and that makes a house a very attractive home for potential buyers, because they don't have to be veterans themselves to assume this veteran that's selling it. Now, why would somebody want to do that? Well, the answer is rates for VA loans are very, very low, a lot lower even than FHA, and let alone conventional. So that's a bonus that comes with it as well. So there are maximum VA loan guarantees. Now the VA guarantee doesn't mean that that's the loan limit. That's just the maximum that the VA will guarantee. So if they want a veteran wants to go beyond that, they can simply bring the difference to the table or other financing, and they can get into the home. So as you can see in San Diego, $580,000, $417 for Riverside, $625,500 in OC, and $625,500 in LA County. Now we also do VA jumbo loans of up to $1.5 million that will require some down payment, but again, it'll be a lot less than any other type of financing that a veteran tries to apply for as well. That's very cool. Now there is another program in California called the CalVet, and this does different. A VA is very different from CalVet for a lot of different reasons. First of all, one of the things that's a fundamental difference is that the CalVet program is a land contract. So that the owner of the veteran does not own the property per se. The state of California does. It's a land contract. Read up on that so you'll see the difference. Also, the loan amounts are usually less for CalVet programs as well. Many other challenges, in my opinion, I don't see why anybody would ever go with CalVet when they actually qualify for the VA loan. And I've never met somebody that has ever gotten a CalVet loan that liked it more than a VA loan that they later on went to obtain as well. And so anyways, as you can see some of the other things here, with the CalVet, you cannot refinance it. It must remain owner occupied, and it's just simply a bigger headache, in my opinion, than the VA program. VA is also more liberal when it comes to the debt that the veteran might have. VA uses the residential income technique, not just the straight DTI or debt to income ratios, which is great because this one takes into account all the co-borrowers and dependents to determine how much residual income is left after backing state and local taxes. And what this means is that, as you can see at the bottom, the VA guidebook references 41% as a DTI, but 45% is very common, which is also very generous considering the fact that the interest rates are a lot lower for the VA than a conventional, and so therefore they can either buy more home or buy the same amount of home for a lot less money. Now, some of the things you got to keep in mind as occupancy is concerned, it must be owner occupied. No investment homes, and of course no second homes either. Also, no units, no non-occupying co-signer. So if I'm a veteran and I want to buy a home and I have somebody that tries to co-sign for me who's not going to be living in there, that's a no-no. If unmarried, all loan applicants must be eligible for VA benefits in order for the applicant to be used in qualifying. Self-explanatory there. And then some of the property issues you got to keep in mind include the appraisals. It must be assigned by the VA. They have 10 business days, I should say, maximum to complete it. And the home itself has to be safe, sound, and sanitary. Any problem cited with the VA appraisal must be corrected prior to the loan closing. Termite report, and a lot of the stuff that you as real estate or mortgage professionals should probably already know. Now, as it relates to this, if it's a single family residence that's being resold, it's automatically approved. That's very important. If you're helping a veteran buy a new single family residence, you have to check with a builder to make sure that they have VA approval. The same thing with the resale of a condo. You have to check with the complex and make sure that the complex is VA approved. And as you can see with condos and conversions, again. So you can go to this domain that you see here to get all the information as it relates to that. But that's something that's not too common as well. Now, if it's a VA or a condo complex needs VA approval, there are a few other things, CCNRs, bylaws, and stuff that have to be reviewed by legal counsel and also the VA. And then it goes into some of the costs, approximately $1,500 for lawyer, which is required up front, not refundable, and takes about 4 weeks. We don't do too many of them. If that's the case, most people just move on before they get bogged down in something that's going to cost money and take too long. Now, the pre-approval is very important. Again, us here at Radiant Mortgage Bank, we are fully approved, so the first order of business is to get that person approved. And we're going to do that by utilizing what's called the Certificate of Eligibility. We will obtain that. You as the MLO can obtain that as well. And we want to go ahead and fully underwrite the file so that we can get a hard approval. And that's very important because it's not just a pre-qual, but the actual approval of the loan itself. The funding fee, we will go ahead and pay for that. And then, of course, there are some restrictions as it relates to the closing costs, what can and cannot be charged to a veteran. And then, of course, as the shopping goes for the property, the real estate agent has to be aware that the property has to be VA approved and eligible. And then, of course, the other things that you see here, that you need to keep in mind. Now, as it relates to writing the offer and going back to the huge bonuses of this type of approach is that there's no money down and no out-of-pocket money, which is the no-no type of loan. That's the last one we have. Everything else has gone away. This is the only one that, again, allows us to do just that and to be able to roll everything into the new loan to get that veteran into the home again with literally nothing out of pocket. And so that's very important because some of the expenses that are going to be incurred can be paid by either the actual seller. It could be by also via credit by the MLO. And here at Reading and Mortgage Bank, the reason we're able to be so competitive is that if need be, we can throw some of that rebate or use per premium money right back into the deal to ensure that this VA deal closes as well. Now, the veteran can, but it's not required to pay the following: origination fees up to 1 point, discount points if they wanted to buy it down, appraisal, credit report, prepaid items, VA funding, title insurance fee, and recording fee. Again, get with your trainer, get with your certified field trainer, get with your loan coordinator, or get with me so that we can go over any specific scenario you might have with the veteran. And we've never lost a deal where we cannot come in and help that veteran go in there with literally no money out of pocket whatsoever. Now, these are some of the things that have to be paid for by the seller and or the lender. In the seller's market, it's usually the lender that does it, or it could be half and half. And it's amazing how many sellers have respect for veterans as well, that when it comes to a veteran, they don't mind paying for some of these things as well, including escrow, notary, doc prep fee, tax service fees, underwriting fee, and all other junk fees. And junk fees doesn't mean that they're junk. They're just simply the way that they are classified as to what it is that they generate. So again, for a VA non-allowed fees, the seller or the lender can pay for some or all of these costs. One, the other, or both parties can do that as well. Now, what's unique about the VA program is that unlike most other, let's just say FHA HUD-backed programs, they do have a funding fee, but then there's a monthly mortgage insurance fee on top of that, depending on the program. With this one, there is a funding fee, but there's no MI after that. And again, it goes right into the loan. The veteran does not have to pay out of his or her pocket to do that. And what's also very interesting is that if you look all the way on the bottom, if the veteran is disabled, what's called service-related injury or disability, they waive the entire funding fee as well. And there's a very simple test as it relates to see if your potential VA or veteran client qualifies. If they are receiving a service-related injury pension check, even if it's just for partial, they usually rate them at 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. If they rate them for anything that gives them a monthly payout, they qualify for the waiving of the funding fee, which is pretty cool. So again, that's something that you as a MLO has to stay on top of to make sure that this veteran is not charged unnecessarily the actual funding fee, where it could have been waived had you just simply known about it. Now, as you go out there and work with and look for veterans, you have to understand some of the lingo, if you would, of the military. Now, one of the things that you are going to ask him or her, meaning the veteran, as soon as you start to collect the conditions and so on, you're going to ask for their DD-214. Now, DD-214 is the discharge release or discharge from active duty paperwork that everybody gets when they leave the military, regardless of the branch, whether it's a Marine Corps, whether it be the Navy, the Army, or the Air Force. Everybody gets a DD-214. And the reason that we're looking for the DD-214 is because if they don't have a DD-214, or they maybe never even served, then we'll catch it by them not having one. If they do have it, we have to make sure that when they left the military, they left in good standing. When they got discharged, they have to receive a type of discharge that prohibits them from disqualifying themselves out of this. And I'll give you an example of where you look to discover that. Now, the easiest way to do it, just go ahead and get with your coordinator, or again, get with your certified field trainer to review the DD-214. If they're giving it to you, they know pretty much well that they're good to go. Otherwise, they would not give it to you at all. Now, if you can see here, I'm zooming in down there where it says character of service, and here it says honorable. So we're looking for honorable, maybe a medical discharge, maybe other than honorable. But if it's, for whatever reason, a bad conduct discharge or a dishonorable discharge, they're not going to qualify. And so again, don't jump the gun. Bring it to us. We'll review it and get this thing moving forward. And also, when you ask him or her for their DD-214, they'll immediately know that you know what you're talking about. A lot of veterans are hesitant to work with those that have no clue about military life or whatever. Just ask, keep the lingo going. which is again that DD214. Another thing that we will pull, we're going to pull what's called the COE, which is the Certificate of Eligibility. And what it'll tell us how much entitlement they have remaining and the conditions that might be required for it as well. And this is what a generic one from a couple of years ago looks like, which is again the Certificate of Eligibility, which we, meaning the lender, will take care of and pull. But it is important for you to understand what it is that we're doing so that you can become more proficient in it, and in the process elevate your overall level of self-confidence. Now keep in mind that we haven't had so many veterans running around since World War II, and because of all the challenges and wars and everything that's going on all over the world, as many, and I mean millions of people have, or men and women have gone into the military, millions more have come out. And so it's important that you have to understand that with more of our troops returning home, Southern California is extremely attractive for a lot of them that transition over to the private sector, if you would, as you mobilize into more of a civilian careers. Many of our service people have been trained in state-of-the-art technologies and command high salaries in the civilian world due to their level of experience. And so again, Southern California continues to be a hub, if you would, for a lot of the veterans that bring with them the kind of skills that the private sector is after as well. Now, just in summary, here are a few of the joint military bases that are within the Southern California region that you'll see a ton, and I do mean a ton of both reserves, active duty, and veterans hang around that. We're talking about Los Alamitos. That's not too far. That's in Southern California, of course. San Joaquin Depot is just another one. Here are a few of the Air Force bases. I mean, we still have technically the LA Air Force Base in El Segundo, which is ironically the only Air Force base in the world that doesn't have a landing strip. And so again, they're everywhere. And the beauty behind this is that they do not have to, I emphasize that, they do not have to be veterans to qualify for this. They just simply have to have more than 90 days of service nowadays, and they qualify for this. Many active military people are throwing away their money with rent, not knowing that they can just walk into a home with no money down and pay almost what they're paying in rent in the form of a mortgage payment. And what's nice about this, when you're having the conversation with the active duty personnel, sometimes, a lot of real estate and mortgage professionals stay away from active duty because they think, well, they're going to have to be moved somewhere, or they're going to be reassigned somewhere. And that is true, but keep in mind that in a lot of branches, when the service member moves, a lot of the times it's just them being deployed. So if they get deployed overseas, if they get deployed anywhere else, anything short of a full relocation, the family stays behind, and the family needs a roof. And with the appreciation of equity, the way we've seen in just the last couple of years, they are able to build wealth by owning a home. That worst case scenario, they can simply ensure that their family remains there instead of being in a rental apartment home or any other kind of military or base housing. So it's very important to be able to do that. So here's just a few of the Army bases as well. As you can look at it, they're literally everywhere. And here at Radiant Mortgage Bank, we have the material that you'll need to market to them, whether it be in person, whether it be through a lot of our charity work that we do with specialized markets, teachers, police officers, military, active duty, reserves, veterans, and so on. We have everything you're going to need. Coast Guard bases, again, not that far. They're all around here. The Marine Corps alone has Camp Pendleton, which is, like I said, one of the largest bases in the world, and many other places that are still going strong that allow you, especially if you lead with you just wanting to serve them, can give you a lot of benefit as well. And then we've got the Navy just all over the place that you can leverage and work with as well. So again, unfortunately, I just did a Google search here for Southern California, and I typed in VA clinics, and you'll see how many VA clinics are around. There's a lot of VA hospitals on top of that. That's a massive one in Long Beach. We've got another one in the Inland Empire. It's just they're everywhere. It's just that you have to have the right mindset, the right amount of knowledge, if you would, to properly serve them as well. So we do have a lot of local concentration of veterans found in police departments, fire departments, and many federal employees like the post office. A lot of them come from the military. And so you don't have to go to military bases to find them, but if you tap into our marketing campaign with police departments and the barbecues that we do, they're running around there. And so that's why it's so important for you to become well versed and leverage it as much as you can. We do a lot of staff meetings. I do a lot of roll call presentations for police. We do a lot of presentations with a school district as well. And they are chock full, like I said, of veterans running around. This is actually me doing one at a roll call at one of the police stations. And it's amazing what percentage of them, I would say ballpark 30 to 40% are military. So there's a 1 in 3 chances that when you talk to somebody, they are going to be veterans. And again, we give you all of the material that you need. And so that's why we go ahead and emphasize that when we conduct our presentations, and we're asking them, hey, are you looking to buy, sell, or refinance a home? And amazingly, a good portion of them, of course, are part of the veteran community, and they run with other veterans as well. I was going to show you something that we use at the police department, but I'm running out of time here as it relates to some. Well, I'll give it to you now. One of the things that we use to get more appointments, we always tell the police officers when we do roll call presentations that we're going to give them a free gun just for making an appointment with us to see how we can help them. And they all, of course, chuckle when they see this big old gun. And then we actually give them just this one, which is just simply jump drive in the shape of a gun. And so again, I just want to emphasize to you, don't sell yourself short. Understand that millions and millions of good people out there are waiting for you to approach them and let them know that you can help them buy that home. And especially as a real estate professional, if you are licensed, you can get paid on that side, you can get paid on the VA side. And not only is it the type of program that has the best interest rates compared to FHA and conventional, but it also pays the most as well. All right, I just want to say thank you. I want to go ahead and leave you with just what I was mentioning earlier, and that is that just do good for people. There's a lot of them running around. There's a lot of people looking for guidance, and for you providing that guidance to them, you will be paid many times over. And I'm not just talking about financially, but in many other ways as well for helping those that help keep us safe. Thank you so much. Best of luck. Talk to you soon.